Okay, so following yesterday's, we just went over like the vocab and everything. So I'm gonna be talking about like the two different kinds of fat, like the good and the bad fat. So the first fat that's on the board, it says it's monounsaturated fats. They fall under the good fat. Because they lower your LDL, which is your bad fat cholesterol, which can, if you have too much bad fat cholesterol or bad cholesterol, it can increase your chance of heart disease. And then it increases your good cholesterol, which is your HDL. Some foods you would find, like in monounsaturated fats, would be like peanuts, almonds, and avocados. So those are just a few of them. And then the other good fat is the polyunsaturated fats. Those are also healthy. So those are important to make sure you like consume because your body can't produce them themselves. So you have to get it from the food chain. Those fats also lower LDL, or your bad cholesterol, and they help prevent heart disease and stroke. And then some of those foods would be walnuts, salmon, trout, and sunflower seeds. So maybe good to try. Then trans fat is your bad fat. That's like the worst fat because even like small amounts of trans fat is like really unhealthy for you. So trans fat raises your LDL, which is your bad cholesterol, and it lowers your good cholesterol. So trans fat contributes to inflammation and increases the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. When you're looking on food, like they're supposed to tell you every time it says trans fat, and they're able to put a half a gram of trans fat in without saying that they have trans fat in there. So if you look under the ingredients, if anything says hydrogenated in there, then it has trans fat. And those are in a lot of fast foods, and that's where you mostly find them, but now you know how to look in other foods. So then there's also saturated fats, which they switch back and forth saying it's good and bad fats, but on most things that I've found, they put it under bad fats because your body already makes saturated fats than however much you need. So you don't really need to eat any more because if you have too much, it can raise your bad cholesterol. And that's in like red meat, poultry with skin, whole milk, and butter. So that like goes over the good and the bad fat. And as you can tell, you can kind of tell whether it's good or bad by the taste. The bad stuff tastes good. The good stuff tastes bad. So there you go.
Not necessarily true.
Well, most of the time.
Well, this slide is about common electrolytes, and it's minerals in your blood and other body fluids that carry an electrical charge, and it's affected by the amount of water, the blood, and muscle contractions in your body. Exercising can cause you to lose them from your body, and drinking Gatorade, Powerade, and water especially, which does not contain it, can definitely replace them.
And then there's the benefits and sources of minerals. So there's calcium, which helps move the nutrients through the cell wall. And then when you don't have calcium, the muscles don't contract, and nerves can't transport the messages. And then when there's not enough calcium in your body, it starts to automatically take it away from your bones, which can later on tear them down, which can cause over the years muscle spasms or osteoporosis. And then some sources for calcium are almonds, orange, and blackberries. And then there's magnesium, which helps increase energy and calms nerves and anxiety. And then some sources are avocados, watermelons, peas, oats, and peanuts. And then there's phosphorus, which helps with phosphorus and calcium help make the bones and the teeth, and it maintains acid-base balance in your body. And some sources of phosphorus can be kiwi, corn, and sunflower seeds. And then with iron, it helps, it plays a role with the production of the red blood cells. And with iron deficiency, it could lead to anemia, chronic anemia, cough, and pre-dialysis anemia. And some sources could be strawberries, grapes, potatoes, pumpkin, and coconut. And then with potassium, it helps keep the brain, the kidney, and other important organism systems in the human body in good condition. And for that, you could eat, some sources could be banana, almonds, sweet potatoes, and grapefruit. And then other sources could be, besides the phosphorus, iron, and calcium, could be zinc, which is important because it ranges the protein in your body. And then it helps with wound healing and with growth and vision. And then some sources could be raspberries, corns, and wheat. And then
water is the most important essential because it has a big part in our body. It maintains our body temperature, metabolizes body fat, aids in digestion, lubricants and cushion organs, transports nutrients, and removes toxins. And water makes up to 60 to 75% of your total body weight, depending on aging. And blood is approximately 90% water and is responsible for transporting nutrients and energy to muscles. Each day, your body loses 2 to 3 quarts of water through sweat, urination, excretion, and breathing. Water also helps maintain weight. It's hard to tell between hunger and thirst. If you feel hungry, drink water first, then reassure your hunger status. Not drinking water's nutrients can cause things like arthritis, heartburn, high cholesterol, and more. And I have a video.
Every living organism we know of requires water to survive. It's part of the reason we look so feverishly for water on other planets across the universe and consume it consistently every day here on Earth. So what would happen to your body if you stopped drinking water? Of course, when we say water, we're including all fluids which simply contain water, like juices, pop, or tea. Much like the desire to breathe in oxygen, thirst is a survival instinct. H2O is the most abundant molecule in the human body, making up, on average, 65% of an adult. As a universal solvent, it carries nutrients and hormones through the body, regulates body temperature, cushions our joints, and even lubricates our eyes. We produce around 1.5 liters of urine every day, with another liter lost from breathing, sweating, and pooping. So it's essential that the body replaces this liquid. The thirst center of the brain is located in the hypothalamus and is constantly using sensors in your blood vessels to monitor the amount of sodium and other substances in your body. For example, if you sweat too much, your blood volume and pressure fall. The brain then detects this change and creates the urge to drink something now. So what happens if you're unable to satisfy this thirst? The initial signs of dehydration are the obvious dry mouth, following which your urine becomes darker with a stronger odor as your body attempts to conserve more fluids. The lack of H2O then begins to affect your brain. You might feel lightheaded, have a slower response time, and decreased ability to feel pain. In fact, when you're dehydrated, your brain tissue literally shrinks. In studies observing hydrated versus dehydrated participants, the same task required more brain power and oxygen in dehydrated individuals compared to those fully hydrated. After a day or two with no fluids, you'll stop peeing altogether, have trouble swallowing, suffer from muscle spasms, and likely experience nausea. After all, your body can survive without food much longer, and attention to digestion is not a priority at this point. Eventually, victims may become delirious with severely impaired brain function. Interestingly, studies looking at elderly patients who suffer from delirium found that many are simply suffering from chronic dehydration in the first place. After even more time without water, the blood stops flowing to your skin, reducing heat loss but increasing your core body temperature. This can lead to a gray-bluish tinge to your skin. Beyond 3 to 5 days without water, and your body will begin to shut down its organs and eventually the brain. Of course, unlike the plentiful oxygen we breathe, only 2.5% of all Earth's water is fresh, most of which is locked up in glaciers, ice caps, and underground lakes known as aquifers, leaving less than 1% available for drinking. And most of this water is actually used to grow crops. Approximately 500 billion liters of fresh water is used daily for agriculture in the USA alone, with another 500 billion liters to cool electric power plants. And as our personal drinking sources become increasingly contaminated, over 783 million people on Earth are unable to access clean water. Scientists around the world are trying to find solutions to this problem, from attempts to remove salt from the ocean water, tap into underground aquifers, and creating innovative water filtration systems. If we look to space, NASA has developed technology for astronauts to turn their urine into water more pure than what we drink on Earth. But we can't just rely on science and technology. Perhaps the solution relies on us as a species to understand and contribute to this global water crisis. If you want to help in the mission to end global thirst, join in World Water Day on March 22nd. There are a lot of really amazing projects out there, like water.org or even the awesome UNICEF app, which donates 1 day of clean water to
And then it's what percent of human body is made up of water. So the video practically mentioned a lot of it, which it's 90% of the human body weight is made up of water, and about 60% of the human body is water. And then as a percent, children have more water than adults, and then women have less water than men. And a body with more fatty tissue has less water than a body with less body fat. And then what water does to you, it helps regulate your body temperature, and it forms your saliva. It lubricates your joints and helps deliver oxygen all over the body. And then, in that diagram, it gives you more examples. And then in the human body, the muscles and kidneys have about 79% of water. The skin has about 64%, and the heart and brain have 73%, and the lungs have 83%. And then before the questions.
Okay, so now that we've thrown all this information at you, and hopefully you guys are listening. So we brought together some food and drinks, and we're gonna tell. Okay, so each of your guys' groups talk together and see how you would order them in the healthiest to least healthiest, and then you guys will have a volunteer come up and organize it, and if there's no volunteers, we'll call on you guys. So you guys got 2 minutes.
So you have to put those in order from least healthy to most healthy.
So there's a Gatorade. There's a Gatorade, a water bottle.
So are you doing all of these
And
things?
sodas.
Well,
Yeah.
the drinks are gonna go in order, and then the food.
Okay. So here.
Oh.
Drinks, put them in order wherever you want them. And then you have gummy crawlers, you have Bennett oatmeal chocolate chip bar, banana, and Cheetos. So decide what order from least healthy to most healthy.
No, just by the healthiest.